You are listening to Huddling with the Herd on KYNT, a weekly recap of Yankton High School athletics. Huddling with the Herd is brought to you in part by Mount Marty University, At the Bar, FNBO, Avera, Parker Hannafin, Olson's Pest Technicians, Farmers Union Insurance, SWAT Chiropractic and Rehab, Rhonda Westland State Farm Insurance, Vision Care Associates, Explorers Credit Union, Slowy Management, Mason Schramm and the Move Group, MT&RC Smith Insurance, Triple Time Rudy's, Vision Real Estate, First Dakota National Bank, Yankton Medical Clinic, the UPS Store, Hy-Vee, First Chiropractic Centers, Pizza Ranch, and Missouri River Associates. Now broadcasting live from KYNT Studios, it's Huddling with the Herd with KYNT Sports Director Brayden Butler.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live for another week of Huddling with the Herd here on KYNT and streaming live on KYN-TV. I am Brayden Butler, and Huddling with the Herd is presented to you by Explorers Credit Union. Discover the difference with them at explorerscu.com. Just had a big expansion, the open house for that expansion earlier this week. So doing big things over at Explorers Credit Union. For Huddling with the Herd today, we'll hear from head coach Blake Savvy in the booth today, along with assistant coach Joe Muth for Yankton Gazelles basketball. We have head coach Robert Coyle III from Yankton Bucks wrestling here. He'll be in the booth as well. We'll actually start things off with him after our first break. We'll have last night's post-game coach interview with head coach Chris Haynes for the Bucks after their game against Watertown. And, of course, we're breaking down a full week of Yankton athletics, a busy week. It feels like we're finally back into the busyness after that winter break. So we got plenty to talk about today here on KYNT and KYN-TV. On Huddling with the Herd. We're going to start things off with Yankton Bucks wrestling when we come back with head coach Robert Coyle of the Bucks wrestling program. That's in a couple of minutes. You're listening to Huddling with the Herd, KYNT, KYN-TV. We're back after this break to talk Bucks wrestling.
Looking for the perfect pair of glasses? At Vision Care Associates, we've got you covered. Step into our showroom and discover our vast selection from timeless classics to the latest trends. With several styles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect match for your look. Experience personalized service and expert care, whether you need help finding the right frame or adjusting your new glasses for the perfect fit.
Vision Care Associates, where the health of your eyes comes first.
What if your next big adventure isn't somewhere out there, but already waiting for you at home? That kitchen remodel, a new addition, or that dream family getaway? Your home's equity can fuel it all. With a fixed-rate home equity loan from Explorers Credit Union, turn what you've built into where you're going next. Explorers Credit Union, we believe in helping you launch your next big adventure. Call 800-491-4309 and speak with a loan officer today. Explorers Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
At Mount Marty University, students get real support and real opportunities.
Hi, I'm Maya, and I'm a business major at Mount Marty University. The professors here at Mount Marty are just amazing. They're very good about supporting me through future internships and jobs that they try and line me up with, and they also provide real life experiences in the classroom through projects and speakers and things like that.
Start your journey online at mountmarty.edu.
At the Bar is the bar for sports fans. With coverage of NFL, college football favorites, Yankton High School action, and NHL hockey too. Open 7 days a week. Bring in your crew, grab a table, and take in all the action surrounded by fans who love the game as much as you do. The energy's better, the company's great, and the beverages are cold, just the way game day should be. You can watch the game anywhere, but real fans gather at the Bar in downtown Yankton.
FNBO is the great big small bank, and for more than 165 years, we've been with you where you are. A bank that's ready for all your needs, both big and small. Here to help you earn more, save more, so you can do more every step of the way. It's what you can expect from the great big small bank. FNBO, independent and family owned for 6 generations, and ever so focused on you. Stop on by or visit us at fnbo.com, member FDIC.
From the first wails of surprise to first day of school questions, playground adventures, learning to drive stress, and graduation cheers. They'll always be your little sunshine. At Avera Children's, we get kids, teens, and parents too. We'll step you through first checkups, milestones, sickness, and specialized care when your child needs it. And treat them like our own every step of the way. Learn more at avera.org/children's.
Welcome back in here on KYNT and KYN TV for Huddling with the Herd. It's time to start things off with Yankton Bucks Wrestling. We got head coach Robert Coyle of the Bucks Wrestling program. Couple tournaments this week, a duel on Tuesday, a triangular on Thursday. Coach, you've been some pretty busy guys, not as busy as the Gazelles. I'll talk about that later on, but we'll start on Tuesday with things falling in a duel to Bonham Avon at Bonham High School. That was a pretty big day just for wrestling in general. There were youth tournaments as well as the high school for boys and girls varsity and everything. So talk before we get into the results, talk about how that tournament kind of came together with the youth wrestling and everything too, part of it.
Yeah, so last year we kind of have an idea per admin, per working with coaches and stuff. Wrestling we're trying to build that, especially in this area of South Dakota and with that. So one thing that I think we wanted to do is we wanted to get participation, we wanted to get fans, we wanted to get people to our duels. So last year actually we came up with the idea to do, we had actually a middle school duels matches first. And that was at like 5 o'clock, and then youth would go. And the idea is that everybody would stay then and watch the high school varsity boys and girls, and then if we had any JV matches, and we probably had our biggest crowd that I've ever, since I've been here and since Coach Smith, and when he was coaching, he's like, I've never seen this many people at a high school duel in Yankton, or at least for a long time, I should say. So that kind of came about that, and we had a lot of success. We had senior night that night. So then, we're trying to do this every year, whether, obviously last year was Yankton, this year was at Bonham. And so they hosted it. It was the same thing. And, you get a really good crowd, and you get a lot of people there, maybe that aren't necessarily huge wrestling fans, but maybe their nephew was in the youth duel, so now they stay for the high school, and then they get to see that part of it. And then, ideally the little kids see that, and they want to stick with wrestling and stick and participate in it. And I want to be on that mat when I'm in high school. We did signing posters and stuff last year. So now we went obviously into Bonham this year and did that. It was just a really good event, top to bottom, for our youth to see, for our high school guys to cheer on the little guys. They, the youth think that's really cool. They look up to them, and as with other sports, if you make that connection or make that memory for that, that little kid, that's going to make them want to keep doing it and have that moment themselves in the future. So yeah, it's a really, really cool and neat thing that I think we did the last 2 years, and I think we look at doing hopefully it again next year in Yankton and keep building that atmosphere and that environment for all of our kids, youth to high school.
And some people might not realize how entertaining as a spectator wrestling can be. I wrestled through the 8th grade, and my younger brothers wrestled, and I go back sometimes, and my youngest brother, I went to a high school meet for him last year, and watching him, I'm like, I could probably get back out there, see what happens. It's like, no, I got shoulder messed up and everything else, and I haven't tried to make weight in about 10 years, but it's fine. Wrestling's a lot of fun to watch and be a part of. So if you, this is now for the listeners at home, if you haven't been out and watched the Bucks and Gazelles on a wrestling meet, get out there. I believe, I know we're jumping ahead, but you got a road triangular next Thursday, Vermilion and Dakota Valley and Vermilion, but that's pretty close by for people who want to go. But we'll talk about the results now, starting on Tuesday. 41-28 in the team score. Bonham Avon gets the win there, but a couple pinfall victories for the Bucks. Colton Archer at 106, Corbin Saylor at 190, and Drace Gaskins at 285 all got wins. Brooks DeLozier, Evan Jackman, Chase Platt all picking up wins as well for Yankton. So pretty solid night of wrestling for your guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Bonham, they might be a Class B school per se, but they are the third-ranked Class B school in wrestling, and they have a really good program from their youth to their high school, and they've had years of that going. So they had a lot of good wrestlers. So we were going into it, knowing that it was going to be a tough duel, knowing that we were going to have to bring it, and we were missing a couple of our other studs and guys, from some weight descent, some sickness things going on. But I was super happy with how we competed. The nice thing, too, about going against them is we're Class A, they're Class B. At state tournament, there's no seeding. There's no, I have to win this match. We're just going out there and wrestling. And I thought we, top to bottom, from 106 to 285, the guys that we brought competed. And we were going against, Bonhomme guys that are ranked second, third, fourth in Class B, and we didn't lay down for them. We went out there and battled, and that's all we can ask for as coaches. And then we can, use these weeks where we have a few more days in between meets to kind of work on some of those technical things that we're seeing, team-wise and individually-wise as well. So I was super happy. Lost the duel per se team-wise, but we really competed, and we won those 6 matches. And you flip 1 or 2 matches in that I think we could have had. That dual score flips as well to us, winning 42-28 or whatever that may be. So tough program. Much respect to their coaches and their wrestlers, and it was just a good, fun night of wrestling. At the end of the day, obviously we wanted to get the win. Some individuals got some wins, but super fun night to be a part of, and I love that event that we do it. And I think that if we can keep that going, it's really good for our individual guys too, to have that, because it's like, hey, there's nothing on the line here. We're just gonna go out there and wrestle and compete, and get our hand raised at the end, great, and we'll move on to the next one.
You mentioned when you have some space between meets is when you can kind of polish some things. Didn't have a lot of space between meets this week. You had one day, and then you're back on Thursday. You had a triangular Aberdeen Central and Brandon Valley. End up dropping both of those on team score, but still a lot of guys picking up wins again. Starting against the Golden Eagles, Colton Archer, Ethan Smith, Chase Platt, and Peyton Eustace all picking up wins for you guys. And then Archer and Platt again getting wins against the Brandon Valley, as well as Edley Amaro and Zane Portillo. So a couple guys going 2-0 on the day, and Colton Archer and Chase Platt, and then more guys getting in wins there as well.
Yeah, and same thing with Aberdeen Brandon Valley. Those are 2. Now we go back to Class A. Those are 2 top 6 teams in Class A that, I think last year when we wrestled them, we got blanked. We put up zeros on the board, and that was a tough thing to come back from mentally as a team, physically as a team. So you look at that score, and we look at where we're at this year. We're getting close in the dual score, and we're winning matches at the end of the day against these really, really good programs. And that was the same thing. It was a lot of those guys last time, those seniors wrestling at home. It was nice to get Peyton, Edley, Chase some wins. Was their last time home crowds right there. We had 2 great crowds this year too, so I was super happy with that. And I thought we went out there same thing. I think we competed, and I think a couple guys know the individually that they can get their guys that maybe they lost to. But it was awesome to see the guys who did go out there and get some wins. It was cool to see 8th grader Zane Portillo, kind of when we're dropping a couple, he went out there in that Brandon Valley duel, stepped up, gave a spark to our team, and then all of a sudden Chase Platt goes out there and gets it going. And then the next guy kind of comes out, and Corbin Seiler he fell in his match, but he brought it. And then Aberdeen Brandon Valley, they're a team too with multiple guys ranked in the top 2 or 3 and some number 1. So we're going up against these teams, and we're competing, and we're giving our guys that belief that we can go out there and compete. And kind of when you see that light bulb moment of, hey, I made it out of the first 2 periods, and it's 2-0 the score. I'm in this match. So giving them that belief, and we're still having some heartbreakers where maybe we don't come up with the win at the end of the day, but we're closing that gap with these teams and individually in the matches. Where, like you said, we wrestle Tuesday, quick practice Wednesday, get our weight down, get ready to go, get our conditioning up. Thursday we're going again. So not a lot of time in between those, but I thought for the last 2 weeks we had, I was really happy with how much we competed, how much we wrestled. We're making weight 5 or 6 times that week. We got 3rd place at the Brandon Valley tournament with a stacked field, and the 2 teams that placed above us were Aberdeen and Brandon Valley, who we wrestled Thursday. So, tough schedule, but now we'll go into the next couple of weeks battle tested, especially into February when we get to that postseason time.
And I know you mentioned obviously seniors last time getting to wrestle in front of their home crowd on Thursday. My timeline gets messed up sometimes. Is this year 3 for you as head coach?
Yes, sir.
Year 3.
Yes, sir.
So
Yep.
This is a group of seniors you've been working with since they were sophomores now, and it's kind of like that first real class you've had to work with throughout their high school career.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about a little bit about this senior class and what they've meant to you as you start your coaching journey.
Yeah, these guys, these 5 are pretty special to me. I first got here, and I was a new guy, and we went to team camp at Northern. I brought 8 kids, and pretty much everybody, all of our 3 or 4 of our seniors were on that trip. And I go forward to how much we've built with bringing kids to the camps, getting kids out for wrestling, getting kids to stay in wrestling. And they've still been that main core that I've been with. So, we got Edley Amaro, Drace Gaskins, Chase Platt, Jolton Reinmetz-Hahn, who we're hoping to get back here soon to be competing with us. And then Peyton Eustace, those 5, they mean a lot because we've been together. We've went through a lot of highs together, went through a lot of lows together. But that's wrestling, and then that's what leads to life. So no matter what those 5 do in life, they're going to always mean a lot to me as a coach. And it's always been a pleasure and an honor to coach them and be a mentor to them, hopefully, in their lives going forward. But we all know that we don't got a lot of time left, so we're trying to make the best out of it, some team bonding things. And we really want to end the season with them 5 reaching their goals. You know, we wrote down our individual goals at the beginning of the season and team goals, and they all have things that we can have 100% achieve. So I think they all understand what they need to do, and we really have that good relationship where I know I can count on them for some things, and they know they can count on me. So I couldn't have been more blessed and honored to have these 5 guys with us and kind of leading our pack this year and help shaping the team to come for sure as well.
Oh, it's obviously the last home meet, but it's not the end of the season for you guys. Still meets coming up. So yes. As you mentioned, time to work together still and build towards those goals. That kicks off again next Thursday. You get a full week off of practice, polishing a little bit before you take on Vermilion and Dakota Valley in a triangular at Vermilion High School. So what are your expectations heading into that next week?
I think it'll kind of be the first time we have our full solid lineup from 106 to 285 where everybody's down to the weight they can be. You know, like you said, you wrestled, 10, a while ago. And even when I was in high school, they didn't have this new OPC descent plan system where, you weigh in at the beginning of the year and, make sure that you're safely cutting weight now. So you can only lose so much weight per week, per day. And so next week will be the first time that we have our 106 to 285 that we're not bumping a bunch of guys, shifting weights to fill weight classes and stuff. So I'm looking for, our full team to go out. Dakota Valley and Vermilion, they're, smaller Class A schools per se, but they each got some studs too. So we're going to need to bring it. And I know our guys are going to be up for the challenge now, being that we've competed against the teams we've been competing against the last couple of weeks and making the progress that we've made. I know that we're going to go out there and, like you said, it's a close, we're not going 3-4 hours away. It's 30 minutes. And I'm looking for us to be loud on the sidelines, loud for our guys, competing and battling. And I look for us to have a really good Thursday against them 2 teams.
Well, Coach, thanks for taking time to come in and talk this morning. I know I kept you in here about 12 minutes, but thanks for taking time and coming to talk. And if you're able to next Thursday, our listeners at home, go support Yankton out in Vermilion with that triangular with Vermilion and Dakota Valley. And good luck on the rest of your season, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That was head coach Robert Coyle of Yankton Bucks Wrestling. Hopefully we can get you back in at some point before state tournament and postseason starts. But that's Yankton Bucks Wrestling here on Huddling with the Herd. When we come back, we're going to hear from head coach Blake Savvy and assistant coach Joe Muth of Yankton Gazelles basketball. Back in a couple minutes on Huddling with the Herd.
At Parker of Yankton, we are powered by the hard work of our employees, the loyalty of our customers, and the support of our community. Together, we're engineering success like never before. Looking to start the new year with a career where you're valued and appreciated? Join the Parker team today. Visit parker.com to apply. From all of us at Parker of Yankton, thank you for making this year unforgettable.
Parker, engineering your success.
To a fresh start and boundless opportunities, here's to a new year of success and celebration from all of us at Parker of Yankton.
Rodents want to make your home their home. Pesky invaders go in search of warm housing and food for the winter. An invasion of rodents can be costly and can contribute to disease and contamination of products. So trust the experts to keep them out. Olson Pest Technicians is family-owned with over 80 years of experience. Even the toughest infestations don't stand a chance. Olson Pest Technicians, putting pests to rest since 1966. Call 800-KIL-BUGS.
In nearly every family's lineage, there's a tie to agriculture. It's a legacy reflected in how we raise our kids, help our neighbors, and respect what we have. Farmers Union Insurance was built on that legacy. And while our roots are in agriculture, our protection has grown to include home, auto, business, health, and life. Protect your legacy. Farmers Union Insurance.
Call Brendan Hansen and Brandon Tykrow or visit them at Suite 101B Morgan Square in Yankton.
If you've been suffering from chronic pain or a recent injury,
check us out, Lane, Reed, and Cole Sawatsky at SWAT Chiropractic and Rehab.
We offer a wide variety of treatments and techniques, including dry needling, cupping, chiropractic adjustments, and sports rehabilitation.
Our mission is to ensure an individualized and efficient treatment plan to get you back on your feet.
From ankle sprains and sports injuries to neck pain and headaches, we've got your back.
Give us a call or book an appointment on our website. SWAT Chiropractic, specialized wellness and therapy.
Located on Summit Street across from the high school.
When you make the right decision, it feels good. Like picking the perfect accent rug or choosing a good night's sleep over an all-night crime show binge. It feels really good to make the right insurance decision too. That's why State Farm agent Rhonda Westland is right here in Yankton to help you select the right protection at the right price. Rhonda will make sure you understand your State Farm coverages so you'll know what to expect if the unexpected happens. With State Farm agent Rhonda Westland, it's easy to make the right choice. Just call her. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Do you struggle with dry contacts? At Vision Care Associates, we have a great option. Infused contact lenses by Bosch & Lomb. Infused lenses are designed to ensure that your eyes stay hydrated and irritation-free, even after a full day of wear. Our doctors specialize in fitting these lenses for maximum comfort and optimal vision. Schedule your consultation and experience the all-day comfort and crisp, clear vision you deserve.
Vision Care Associates, where the health of your eyes comes first.
Welcome back in here on Huddling with the Herd, KYNT, KYN TV. We're talking Yankton Gazelles basketball. Not as busy of a week this week. Only one game after last Friday's game against Mitchell. You get a full week of rest. Last night against Watertown, a 59-46 win. Second win of the season. Unofficial final stats, 27 points, 10 rebounds, 4 steals, 3 assists for Eden Wolfgram, a double-double for her. Jordan Cooter, 13 points, 6 rebounds, 9 points from September Rao. That is a very impressive performance across the board. I know Eden's going to kind of dominate the conversation at first with her double-double and a couple steals and assists, but we'll kick it right off. Head coach Blake Savvy, the Yankton Gazelles. Coach, what an impressive win last night, especially after a bit of a slow start against Watertown. You really bounced back.
Yeah, we can, I think start talking about just the team collectively as a whole. And that game, that's a really big game for us. To come out in the first half, the girls knew that this is a game that they wanted to go get. And so to go into halftime and be down with a 4-point deficit, that's easily a game where we could kind of defeat ourselves a little bit, come out in the second half and make it a really tough uphill battle for ourselves. They did not do that. They stayed composed. They bought into the adjustments and really, I think, in the second half, allowed themselves to just drop their defenses a little bit, drop their shields, and they just went after it, got nose-to-nose on defense, attacked the rim on offense. They played aggressive basketball, a complete 180 from the first half. And I was just really, really proud of our girls for them to be able to feel that, see that, and go get a big win. That's just a really big momentum builder for them. And we talk a lot about learning how to win, and that's just where our program is at right now. We've got to continue to learn how to win. And that was a really big game and a big step when you talk about learning how to win there.
There was one stretch, throughout the entire second half, as you mentioned, defense seemed like it was switched on, getting nose-to-nose, but there's a stretch in there where Watertown is trying to inbound the ball 3 or 4 times. It either gets stolen or knocked out of bounds or something happens. I think a foul was called in there too. And it felt like Watertown would have had an easier time just climbing a mountain at that point than getting the ball in bounds between, I think it was Brenna Elwood, Jordan Cooter were up there. I think September might have been on the bench at the time, but she was another one when it happened that you had out there. But you guys were very, very aggressive, stealing the ball away and not even allowing the ball to get in play.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about coming off of last week with 2 games, going into a stretch of 4 practices. We talked as coaches. I think we talked last radio on Saturday about the dial needs to just get turned to 10, and we've got to be willing to get there. And that's what we saw in the second half. And it's just really good for our girls to kind of see the contrast between the first half, kind of being 1 foot in, 1 foot out, kind of there, not fully there, and then just jumping all the way in and going after it in the second half. And, like you brought up to start, led by Eden Wolfgram, that's an amazing stat line for a small guard on the court, to go 27 points, but then to follow that up with 10 rebounds and just be aggressive on the boards, while also getting your teammates the ball with 3 assists, 4 steals. That's a really big night for her. And most of that occurred in the second half. That's where she really just kind of came, just started getting after it. And we talked over on the last radio show, I had no idea until I was told that she had 27. Like it was a smooth, quiet, efficient 27 points. And that's when you really like to see those.
And with Eden as well, I like to make a joke with somebody stuffs the stat sheet like that, points, rebounds, steals, assists, probably drives the bus to road games if she's got a CDL on her or whatever is required to drive
I don't know
the bus,
that we'd want that, but
but just a do-it-all kind of player, and she really led the way last night. Jordan Cooter was a topic of discussion at points in the pregame show because she stepped into the starting lineup. I know we've talked about injuries. You're dealing with more, it feels like, unfortunately, but I thought she stepped up very, very well in place of Kelston Wells last night.
Yeah, her and I talked before the game, and we just said this is the exact same basketball game. It's just now you're getting your name called, and you get to go high five and go walk out the tunnel, and that's really cool, and you should enjoy that. But then when the ball tips off, it's the exact same game. Nothing changes outside of before the 8-minute clock starts. You get to enjoy that moment. But then it is the exact same basketball game. And she played with poise. She played with control. When we really needed as a team to start to put some pressure on the rim, she was the one that kind of started to find the gaps and get into the paint and find that for us a little bit. And then that kind of, I guess, got contagious for the rest of our team. And we kept rocking from there. But she was in rhythm from the outside and from the paint and just doing good things defensively as well. Our stats have her at 6 rebounds. Other stats had her at 9. I know that she was grabbing a lot of rebounds either way. And so, again, for 2 guards to do that, that's awesome.
For the sake of it sounds cooler, I'll defer to the higher number, but
Yeah.
no, I'm kidding. But she played great in her first start. Eden obviously played great. We'll talk a little bit about the sub-varsity level. The only results I was able to get were for the JV game for the sub-varsity level, but I know Coach Muth is a sub-varsity coach. 39-32 win for Yankton. J.D. Kendall had 10 points. Mathia Olson had 9 points. And then Mathia, Berkeley Olson, and Jaslyn Romero all had 3 steals. You've had to do a lot of shuffling through the sub-varsity. I know I talked to Coach Savvy about that in our pregame interview last night with the injuries at the varsity levels. You shuffle people up, and you had to call up some 8th graders in the sub-varsity. So I know we talked about it last week, but how's that rotation been going, having another week working with these players?
Yeah, I think our 8th graders really stepped up and have done a nice job. It's crazy to think that 3 weeks ago they were playing in an 8th grade game, and you think about the speed that has changed even to a freshman game, to a C game, to a JV game. I mean, that's a pretty big jump for those kids in 3 weeks, and and those 3 guards really have done a nice job for us. It's been fun to see them. I thought their first C game that they played in Aberdeen, they were a little bit like, whoa, kind of wide-eyed. And then, last week, the Mitchell game, they kind of just said, forget it, we're going to go play, which was fun to see. We've been, even with our varsity, like, just go play. We finally got to see that, and we're seeing that from those kids. And so they have done a really nice job for us, and it's been fun to see them have some success.
And it's got to be nice, too, where they can kind of switch on that mentality at such a young age. It proves well for the future for Gazelles basketball. I know you have a fairly young varsity roster still, only a couple of seniors on it, but then seeing the next generation is already kind of stepping into a bigger role.
Yeah, we have we talked about, having a chance to have our team be, some bigger numbers and have, 6 to 8 girls at each level and each grade level and have a chance to have kids develop and not just have to say, well, you got to play at this level because we don't have enough numbers or we have somebody hurt or, so we're looking forward to, we have a pretty good, freshman and 8th grade class right now, and that's the hope that we can use those numbers and do that, build that, so we can have kids develop and be ready for the spots that we need them for.
And basketball season gets pretty busy once you turn the calendar to, well, in this case, 2026. Games come quite often, but this was one of the weeks where you did only have one game. So what was that practice schedule like, having those extra days of rest, especially knowing you're dealing with a little bit of an injury bug right now with the team?
Yeah, we really went in with one defensive focus, and that was pressuring the basketball. We felt like we needed to do it more, and we really wanted to start to ingrain that and try and just make it a complete and utter focus of practice so that it carried into games. And so that's where the first half, I was maybe ready to have a little bit of a heart attack because I don't think we were quite there. The second half, that's kind of what we worked on all week. And so I was just really happy to see them do that. And I think on that note, we talked Eden and Jordan, but I think this is a game where, we've got to mention all 8 girls that were a part of that rotation, because I thought Jocelyn Elwood, that was her best game of the season. She was 3 for 3 from the field. Thought that she did some really good things defensively for us as well. Nora Kraske was a hound on the ball on defense, just right in the offensive player's grill. Sabrina Kraske came in and gave a lot of really good minutes defensively, and both of them kind of were trying to even attack the paint a little bit, which isn't necessarily strength number one. They're kind of the catch and shoot 3 type of strength people, and then both they just defend really well, and we saw that. And then if we just keep going down the list, I think Brenna Elwood had a phenomenal game. Just again, she's a phenomenal leader for a young freshman player. September Rao, got in a little bit of foul trouble, and so we didn't maybe get to see her as much as we would like. But the minutes that she put on the court were very good minutes. They were efficient minutes. She let the game come to her and just kind of took the shots that were open. And then Berkeley Olson, I think in the first half she came in, and we were just watching in there before we came in here. The very first possession she was in, she grabs an offensive rebound that leads to a 3 by Nora Kraske. Those are big plays that just get us those extra points in the plus-minus category. And so we've really got to give credit to the 8 girls that were in that rotation. And then, I love, and there's another picture in the P&D today of just the bench going wild after a play in the second half. And, those are my favorite pictures to see, because that just tells me that collectively as a group, we were all in it, and we were all just, you can see the joy on the faces. And so I just had to make sure we got everybody in there, because it was a great night for collectively the entire varsity roster, and those are fun nights.
Yeah, I feel it's easy sometimes to get caught up in the gaudy numbers of 27 and 10 and then 13 and 6 from your 2 top scorers, but it is a full team effort. And I'm glad you brought up Berkeley Olson, because I don't know if we're thinking of the same play, but it was an offensive rebound for Berkeley where she was boxed out and just out jumps the Watertown player and goes up and gets it. And I feel like that's credit to her and her ability to get vertical despite only being listed, I think, at 5'6". So that's a great player to have off the bench. I thought everybody played super, super well for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, we got to go. I was telling the coaches, but last night was being the youth night. We ordered 120 posters, and we were pretty comfortable with that number. And I all of a sudden was not so comfortable with that number as I started to see the line, which was a really cool feeling. Again, just for the girls, that's a really cool moment for them to see. They signed, I think we have 6 posters left. So they signed their name 114 times, Coach Muth, I think. I'm not the math person, but it's a cool night for our girls, and it's even more special when you're able to go get a hard-fought win like they did.
Well, Coach, I was going to say thank you for coming in today, but we still got to talk next week. You got 2 games, Sioux Falls Jefferson on Tuesday, Sioux Falls Roosevelt on Friday. We'll start with that Jefferson game. I believe you guys will be the ones on the road. We got a couple more of these splits left that I've made my opinions known about, but it's okay. But a couple more of these splits left. So what are you expecting from Jefferson on Tuesday? I know when we talked last night, you mentioned Altenberg's going to be a very tough player to cover.
Yeah, she will. She's one of the best players in the state, and we've got to have a plan for her. As soon as she crosses the half-court line, she is within range. And so it can't be a game where you go play it safe. We've got to be willing to guard her tight, make her uncomfortable, get her out of rhythm. And then behind whoever's defending her, we've got to have fundamentally sound team defense ready to take advantage. We've got to lock down. We did a great job last night on the defensive rebounds. That's got to be the case again on Tuesday. When you force a miss, you've got to go get that thing and make them pay for missing, not let them get second chance opportunities, and not change just because the opponent changes. We've got to keep our identity night after night and not try and decide based on the opponent who we want to be. And so that'll be a challenge for us on Tuesday, and then let that carry into Friday against Sioux Falls Roosevelt.
Well, good luck to you next week, Coach. Thank you both for coming in. Coach Blake Savvy, Coach Joe Muth for the Yankton Gazelles basketball program. I'll be on the road with you guys at Jefferson on Tuesday night, so we'll talk ahead of that game and in the post game as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Big thank you again. It's head coach Blake Savvy, assistant coach Joe Muth for Yankton Gazelles basketball here on KYNT and KYNTV for Huddling with the Herd. When we come back, we're still talking basketball. We'll play last night's post-game coach interview with Chris Haynes and talk about their game against the Watertown Arrows. Back in a couple minutes here on Huddling with the Herd.
What if your next big adventure isn't out there on the road? What if it's already waiting right at home? That kitchen you've been dreaming of, extra room to grow, or the family trip you've pictured long ago. Your home's equity can fuel it all. When your plans become a must, Explorers Credit Union. Built steady, built for us. Insured by NCUA. Call 800-491-4309 and put your equity to work for you today.
Traveling to Yankton for business or pleasure in 2026? Then book your stay at Yankton's two finest hotels, the Fairfield by Marriott and the Holiday Inn Express. Both are conveniently located to everything in Yankton. Both offer a complimentary hot breakfast and meeting rooms for business travelers. And if you want a great rate and flexible reservation changes, call either hotel direct, the Fairfield by Marriott and the Holiday Inn Express. Two great hotel choices when visiting or arranging rooms for guests to Yankton.
Buying a home isn't just about real estate. It's about investing in yourself. At the Move Group, we believe the best time to buy is when it makes sense for you. Our expert agents put people before transactions, meaning we listen first, provide honest guidance, and help you make a confident decision. No pressure, no gimmicks. Markets change, but the right home is about more than just numbers. It's about finding the right fit for your life and your future. When you're ready, we're here to help. Contact the Move Group today.
Loading the kids in the car, brokering peace in the back seat, mastering the snack handoff without even looking. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. We work with independent agents who keep insurance simple, so you can worry about more important things, like figuring out what's growing in that cup holder. That's simple human sense.
Don't gamble. Insure with MT and RC Smith Insurance in Yankton, your independent agent for home, business, auto, life, and bonds. Visit mtrcsmithinsurance.com. Looking for fuel or more? Stop by Triple Time Rudy's, your locally owned convenience store at 17th and Broadway. At Triple Time Rudy's, they're proud to support the community, offering fuel discounts to Yankton's largest employers and backing local activities and events. Inside, you'll discover regional favorites like Dimmick Cheese and premium meats from the Kaler and Renner lockers. Whether it's a quick snack, a tank of top-quality fuel, or a taste of local goodness, Triple Time Rudy's, fueling your day, fueling the community.
Moving is hard work. This is Deb Speck from Vision Real Estate, and I'd like to show you how I can make moving a little easier. From advice on staging your home, providing moving boxes, and the use of our enclosed courtesy trailer, to the behind-the-scenes social media marketing and attention to detail, you can rest easy knowing that you have an experienced professional working for you. Call me, Deb Speck, at 605-664-5555.
Welcome back in on KYNC and KYNTV for Huddling with the Herd. We're starting to talk about Yankton Bucks basketball now. Full week of action for them. We'll start on Tuesday. A 54-43 loss in the varsity game to Huron. Beck Reichen, 9 points and 2 assists, led the Bucks in there. Jackson Kudra had 7 points, 3 rebounds, an assist, and a steal. Abel Bryan and Tegan LaCroix both had 6 points And Austin Conway, 5.7 rebounds and a steal in the varsity matchup against Huron. In the JV game, in the JV game, Yankton victorious over the Tigers, 62-46. Grady Walder with 21 points. Ivan Hirschman with 15. In the C game, the sophomore matchup, Yankton won 53-34. Jackson Reichen, 19 points for him. Cash Llewellyn with 13. Jumping ahead now to last night, the varsity matchup, 59-51 loss to Watertown for the Yankton Bucks. Jackson Kudera ends the night with 22 points and 4 rebounds. Owen Eidsness, a pesky defender again, 4 steals and 10 points for him. And Beck Reichen ends the night with 8 points and 5 rebounds. Got a chance to catch up with head coach Chris Haynes of the Yankton Bucks in the post-game show after last night's game against Watertown. Let's go to that interview now to hear from head coach Chris Haynes of the Yankton Bucks.
Ends up being an 8-point loss in the end. You're taking them right down to the wire, and it felt like out of a timeout. I think it was a 10-2 run, kind of blew the door open for Watertown to take advantage in the end. Just what are your initial thoughts coming off the sideline after a tough game?
Yeah, Beck hit a big three in the corner to put us up 2, and Coach McClemens called timeout. And, like good teams do, they didn't get rattled, and they came out and made the plays down the stretch to win the game. And, again, that's what good teams do. And Watertown's done that all year, and that's why they're sitting with the record they have right now. They good players and closing out games.
I know you mentioned our pregame coach interview went to start hot, and he kind of did the opposite of that today. 5 points in the first quarter, but you come back strong in the second quarter, 20 points as a team, 13 from Jackson Kudera, and then basically from there down the stretch battling back and forth. I felt like after that first quarter, the offense started to find its groove again.
Yeah, Watertown made a couple plays to start, no doubt about it, but man, we missed five layups right at the basket, just point blank. If you make those, we didn't, and you're down 12 or 15 or whatever it was, and so that's just unfortunate. We got to be able to make those plays and finish plays off like that. It's hard enough to score against a good team like that, and when you get your opportunities, you have to take advantage of them. And we just didn't do that enough, obviously, in the first quarter, especially. But give our guys credit. They didn't quit. They kept battling and got themselves back in the game. I think we were down 1 at halftime after just a terrible start, and so guys kept battling and, like I said, got back into the game.
And you look at it, a lot of your offensive success came from defensive pressure. You saw guys jump in the passing lanes, getting out on fast breaks, especially in that second half of play. Beck Reichen and Owen Eidsness come to mind as guys who are really working the passing lanes, but it felt like your team as a whole was doing a good job there. Yeah,
we did a good job making a run there and knocked down some shots. And like you said, then got a couple turnovers and a couple steals and scored in transition. And we had all the momentum, everything going our way. Like I said, though, you just got to give Watertown all the credit. Again, for us to take the lead like that, and again, they were a little bit rattled, and their coach called a timeout. You can tell that they weren't too phased and came out and finished the game off the last 3 or 4 minutes, whatever it was.
I do want to talk about next week, a couple tough matchups with Sioux Falls schools. I don't know if there's ever a not tough matchup in Class AA anymore, but you got Sioux Falls Jefferson on Tuesday and Sioux Falls Roosevelt, I believe is number 2 in the class right now on Friday. So what are you looking to as you move into a couple Sioux Falls games next week?
Yeah, both those teams are really good. They're physical, they're strong, they can really score it. They got athletes that can run, they're fast, they're going to transition, they got shooters. They're really good basketball teams, and so, we're going to have to play our best to stay in the game and stay competitive with those two teams.
That was head coach Chris Haynes of the Yankton Bucks last night after Yankton's 59-51 loss to Watertown. Once again, Jackson Kudera led the way with 22 points and 4 rebounds. Owen Eidsness, 10 points, 4 steals. Beck Reichen, 8 points and 5 boards. In sub-varsity action, a close matchup in the JV game, Yankton falling 54-53 to Watertown. Ivan Hirschman and Miles Drotzman both had 15 points, 14 points from Grady Walder. In the sophomore game, Yankton 63-29 loss to Watertown. Brady Ness and Isaac Sirk tied for the team high 8 points each. In the freshman A game, 40-32, Watertown won that one. Brayden Scott, 18 points to lead the Bucks. And in the freshman B game, 50-42 loss for Yankton. Kyler Ike, 14 points. Caden Feenstra, 10 points for Yankton. Up next for the Bucks is Sioux Falls Jefferson on Tuesday. The Bucks are 1-7. Tip off at 7 p.m. from the Summit Activities Center. Pregame coverage on KYN TV. be exclusively streaming on KYN TV. Begins at 6. Yankton Gazelle. We're going to go back to break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up wrestling. We started it with the Bucks earlier on, talking to head coach Robert Coyle. We're going to talk about Gazelles wrestling and their busy week when we come back. This is Huddling with the Herd on KYNT, KYN TV.
Is it the competition that keeps bringing you back? The long-standing rivalries? Or is it seeing friends again and cheering on your favorite team? At First Dakota, we're here for it all. We appreciate the fans, the players, the coaches and officials, the concessions crew. The shared community experience is part of what makes life here great, and we're here for it. See you at the game. First Dakota National Bank, member FDIC.
Big news for Yankton and the surrounding area. Yankton Medical Clinic is proud to announce the addition of YMC Eye Care Clinic. Dr. Trevor Kindle and Dr. Rockney are now seeing patients for routine eye exams, glasses and contact prescriptions, and emergency eye care for unexpected injuries. As Yankton natives, they're committed to caring for the community they call home. Plus, Dr. Kindle is the area's only local comprehensive ophthalmologist and cataract surgeon. Call 605-655-1830. Third floor of the Pavilion, Yankton Medical Clinic. So much care, so close to home.
Getting your business noticed starts with the right print. The other day, a customer came into the UPS store Yankton to pick up blueprints we printed for him. While we finished his order, he mentioned needing business cards. At the UPS store, we handle all your printing needs. Stop in and ask about our current print specials. And that customer? We had his new business cards ready the very next business day. Come explore our small business solutions at the UPS store in Yankton.
Save time and shop online at Hy-Vee. Enjoy the same low prices and great deals online as in store. It's fast and easy. Just shop groceries from our app or online. Choose a pickup or delivery time that fits your schedule. And done. Plus, you can create and save grocery lists, browse weekly deals and coupons, and earn fuel savers. Whatever you need, wherever you are, just one click away. Save time and shop online today at Hy-Vee. Some restrictions apply.
Sports injuries can be the result of competitive activities, but can also happen by just participating in leisure activities too. If you're experiencing pain as the result of your chosen activity, consider chiropractic care. I'm Dr. Mackenzie Erlinson with First Chiropractic Centers. We have experienced chiropractors that work with sports injuries every day. Our treatment options are aimed to minimize pain, reduce recovery time, and reduce risk of future injuries. Visit First Chiropractic Centers, making life better, one adjustment at a time.
Long day, good day, either way, Yankton Pizza Ranch makes it easy. Our buffet is always ready with fresh pizzas, mouth-watering desserts, and the country's best chicken. No waiting, no stress, just grab a plate and enjoy. So when you need comfort made simple, make today a buffet day at Yankton Pizza Ranch. Buffet every day from 11 to 8.
It's where life tastes better. Surround 'em up and head her down to the Pizza Ranch. Whoa, that's good.
Welcome back here on KYNT and KYN TV. Let's talk Yankton Gazelles wrestling. Gazelles, busy week. Couple duels, a tournament, a partridge, and a pear tree this week for Yankton Gazelles wrestling. We'll start on Tuesday. The Gazelles were edged out by Bonham Scotland Avon in their wrestling duel, 28-24. Adriana Boucher, Chloe Catan, and Alexis Brendon all picking up wins by pinfall for the Gazelles. On Thursday, the Gazelles were then swept in their wrestling triangular by Brandon Valley and Aberdeen Central. Against the Lynx, Alexis Brendon at 120 and Winry Yegi at 145 both picked up victories in what ended up being a 48-22 loss. With a lot of these dual scores get kind of skewed, especially on the girls' side, because there's not always full rosters for even both teams at every weight class, so a lot of forfeits get involved. But that was another case there. Yankton would also fall to Aberdeen Central 66-11. Brendan and Yegi once again picking up wins in their matches. And then just yesterday, no rest for the weary for the Gazelles after a triangular on Thursday, a 27-team invitational on Friday at Harrisburg. Yankton took 7th as a team. They were led by a 145-pound championship win from Winry Yegi, 4 pinfall wins en route to that win. Also for Yankton, Alexis Brendan was third at 120 pounds, and Jacqueline Kite was fifth at 135. Vermilion and Dakota Valley are next on the schedule for the Yankton Gazelles. They'll compete in a triangular along with the Bucks next Thursday at Vermilion High School against Vermilion and Dakota Valley. We're going to keep things right here and actually start talking about Bucks hockey as well. A good opportunity to talk about them. Last weekend, they were supposed to play 2 games in the state capital against the Oahe Capitals, but only ended up playing 1 due to an ice issue. We'll talk about that in a moment. But on Saturday, a 5-2 victory for Yankton over Oahe. A hat trick for Jack Pedersen. He had 3 goals. Isaac Dimmer ends the day with a goal and an assist. Rylan Murphy got a goal. And then Brayden Birkland, Tucker Renken, and Grady Van Cleve all credited with an assist each. 9 saves in net for Luke Moeller. Sunday's game was postponed. According to the South Dakota Amateur Hockey Association website, that has not been rescheduled as of yet. So right now, the Bucks are off until January 30th when they take on Brandon Valley. And the end of the month is when we start covering hockey again on KYN-TV exclusively. I believe it's the 31st, and then the 1st of February we'll have games on KYN-TV for Bucks hockey. Myself and Dave Spencer will be on the call for those. We're going to go back to break here on Huddling with the Herd. When we come back, we're going to talk Gazelles gymnastics and Yankton Bucks and Gazelles bowling here on KYN-TV. Back in a couple minutes here for Huddling with the Herd.
Ever have one of those days? Your car breaks down, your dog decides your couch is a chew toy, and oh yeah, a tree falls on your roof. Don't worry, Missouri River Associates has you covered. Auto, home, pet mishaps, we're here for all of life's little oops moments. Call 665-6885 for your free quote. Because life happens, and we're ready for it.
At Vision Care Associates, we're always improving our technology for the health of your eyes. With OptoMap dilation-free exams, you get a comprehensive view of your retina without the need for dilation eye drops. It's quick, easy, and best of all, it keeps your day interruption-free. OptoMap captures a detailed image of your eye, helping to detect any problems. No blurriness, no discomfort, just clear, precise results. Book your OptoMap exam now.
Vision Care Associates, where the health of your eyes comes first.
What if your next big adventure isn't somewhere out there, but already waiting for you at home? That kitchen remodel, a new addition, or that dream family getaway? Your home's equity can fuel it all. With a fixed-rate home equity loan from Explorers Credit Union, turn what you've built into where you're going next. Explorers Credit Union, we believe in helping you launch your next big adventure. Call 800-491-4309 and speak with a loan officer today. Explorers Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
At Mount Marty University, students get real support and real opportunities.
Hi, I'm Maya, and I'm a business major at Mount Marty University. The professors here at Mount Marty are just amazing. They're very good about supporting me through future internships and jobs that they try and line me up with, and they also provide real life experiences in the classroom through projects and speakers and things like that.
Start your journey online at mountmarty.edu.
Welcome back in here on Huddling with the Herd. Talking Yankton Gazelles gymnastics now. Let's start with their week on Monday, placing third in a triangular at Harrisburg, scoring 133.05 points as a team. Marissa Birkland led the Gazelles in the all-around competition. She finished with a 33.4. Avery Portillo had the 2 highest individual finishes in events for Yankton. She tied for 7th in the floor exercise and then tied for 9th on the vault along with Marissa Birkland. On Friday, a 10-team invitational at Huron, Yankton placed 7th as a team. That's just last night. They scored 133.55 points, led by a 33.9 and a 33.8 in the all-around competition, respectively from Marissa Birkland and Avery Portillo. Birkland would finish 15th with Birkland would finish 13th with Portillo 15th. Portillo was also the top Gazelle on the floor exercise with a 9.55 and the vault with an 8.75. Ellie Drotzman would lead Yankton on the beam and the bars, posting a 9.0 on the beam and a 7.6 on the bars. Yankton is back in action on Monday for a home duel at River City Gymnastics and Cheer. At 5:30 p.m., they will host the Vermilion Tanagers. Now let's look at Bucks and Gazelles bowling. As for the Bucks, big moment for them last night at halftime of the boys basketball game. They unveiled their state championship banner for this past season. 3 state titles since 2019 for Yankton Bucks bowling. Heading into this current week of action, they were tied for 4th in the standings with a 5-2 record, and they were set to host Sioux Falls Roosevelt this week at the Yankton Bowl. As for the Gazelles, 3rd in the state heading into this week with a 6-1 record. Excuse me, it should be 4th in the state. 3 teams are tied at 7-0 right now in high school bowling. We'll see if that changes after this week of activities. Took on Sioux Falls Roosevelt at the Yankton Bowl for this week of matchups. That's going to do it for sports coverage here on Huddling with the Herd. We're going to take a quick break, just 1 minute, and then we'll come back. And we'll have YHS Nation for you that you're looking at activities and events going on around Yankton High School in the coming week. Back in 1 minute with YHS Nation here on KYNT, KYN-TV.
At the Bar is the bar for sports fans. With coverage of NFL, college football favorites, Yankton High School action, and NHL hockey too. Open 7 days a week. Bring in your crew, grab a table, and take in all the action surrounded by fans who love the game as much as you do. The energy's better, the company's great, and the beverages are cold, just the way game day should be. You can watch the game anywhere, but real fans gather at the Bar in downtown Yankton.
FNBO is the great big small bank, and for more than 165 years, we've been with you where you are. A bank that's ready for all your needs, both big and small. Here to help you earn more, save more, so you can do more every step of the way. It's what you can expect from the great big small bank. FNBO, independent and family owned for 6 generations, and ever so focused on you. Stop on by or visit us at fnbo.com, member FDIC.
Welcome back on Huddling with the Herd, KYNT, KYN-TV. Time for YHS Nation. Lindsay Corton is your featured interview this week, speaking with Scotty Borman. I believe it was Thursday, might have been Wednesday that this interview was recorded, trying to remember off the top of my head. But let's go right into YHS Nation now. After the interview, we'll give you a look ahead at the activities calendar this week for Yankton High School. But for YHS Nation, here's Scotty Borman.
This is Scotty Borman with another installation of the YHS Nation. And today I'm talking to Lindsay Forton, who helps out with the Science Olympiad, which has had a great success over the years. So first off, Lindsay, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I'm doing great. This is something that, unless you're a science nerd, you probably don't get a lot of people paying attention to what you guys do, but you guys have got an amazing track record. So why don't you fill in everybody in on, well, what you do and what the Science Olympiad is?
Yeah, so Science Olympiad is a state and national STEM competition, so science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And we've got both a middle school and a high school team, but we compete in 23 events across a wide variety of science topics, and it can be anything from hands-on lab to building and testing devices, or even just taking a test. And so students kind of pick the areas that they're interested in, and then they spend months preparing and building and making new iterations of their devices and testing them to prepare for the state tournament. And then based on the results of that, if we win at state, then we move on and do those same events at the national level.
Okay, and give me some examples of some of the projects that have been done in the past. You know, I've seen where a professor has challenged his engineering students to build a structure out of thin little sticks that will support so much weight and stuff like that. Is it along those lines sometimes?
Yep, that would be a typical Science Olympiad event. So we have bridge building is an event where, we're using those tiny sticks of wood to try and make the most efficient bridge as possible to, carry the greatest load while having the least amount of weight itself. So we have events like that. We have ones where you're doing the same thing, but it's a tower structure or a boom lever. We also have building events where they're making vehicles, like an electric vehicle, They have to make other vehicles where they're harnessing the force of gravity, so an object has to fall in order to propel it forward. So, yeah, those would be typical build events for Science Olympiad. And then we have, other events that might be experimental design, and you have to design an experiment to meet the specifications of the event, or you're studying anatomy and you have to take a test over the cardiovascular system. So there's really a wide variety of events that they can participate in, which is great. Kids can find what they're interested in and go for it.
I wasn't aware about the human anatomy aspect of it too. So, I mean, you usually think of people competing in Science Olympiad getting prepared for going into engineering and things like that, but it could be anything in the STEM fields, right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So the 23 events, the National Science Olympiad organization breaks them down into 5 kind of major areas. So there's basically an inquiry of science area, a tech and engineering area, and then like your physical science and chemistry area where you're probably going to be doing some type of experimental design, earth and space, but then there also is a life and social science area too, where you're going to find things like, your anatomy and physiology, or designer genes where they're looking at, genetics and things like that. So it really does cover all the sciences.
Okay, when you said designer genes, it's science, not fashion, correct?
Right, yes. Yep.
Okay.
Genes as in Gene, yeah, so genetics and DNA, yep.
Okay, and do you guys got anything going on here in January, or is it something that's coming down the pike yet, or what's happening with you currently?
So the kids are working on their events. They're studying, building, doing all of those things. And then at the high school level, our first competition will be in March, and that will be at USD in Vermilion. And so we'll head over there and compete at state. And then depending on the results of those, nationals is in May. And this year it's at USC in Los Angeles. So we'd have a long trip ahead of us when we make it.
USD is actually in San Diego. The other USD? Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to USD in Vermilion
Yeah.
first, and then we'll be heading to California.
Believe it or not, San Diego's got their own USD and SDSU. It's just the other SD. So
Right.
I used to be stationed out there. So
There you go.
I think that USD is the Aztecs, but my memory could be failing on that one. But
Okay.
So the kids that participate in Science Olympiad, obviously with the track record YHS and YMS they've got pretty high expectations, but what do they feel about being able to go to places and compete on such a high level like that consistently?
I mean, they're definitely proud of it, and they should be. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication, and they spend tons of hours outside of, classroom time, because it's all outside of class work that they do, and nights and weekends, and lots of them pull in grandmas and grandpas and moms and dads to help. So it can be a real, family affair, and they take a lot of pride in their success, as they should, because it takes a lot of work.
That's awesome. Most of the kids that participate in the Science Olympiad go on to study some sort of a science when they get out of high school?
Yep. It's, I would say, almost 100%, if not 100%. They're going to be probably doing something in, whether it's engineering or medicine. They're usually on the track to do something science related.
Okay, now how does that make you feel to be able to touch the lives of the children that are going to be going into areas like that?
Well, that's why you become a teacher, right? That's kind of the ultimate goal. So I think it's great, and I really enjoy watching them find, and some of them try events and find out that that's not their passion, or they try something and they never thought they would have liked it, and they end up loving it and, moving on with that as they move forward in their lives and future careers. So it's the ultimate goal for the teacher.
Awesome. And when it gets closer to when you guys head over to the close USD and then hopefully go to the distant USD, we'll have to have some more conversations on how that's going, okay?
Yeah, that sounds great. Yep.
All right.
And I really appreciate the time that you took to, talk about Science Olympiad and feature them. And I think it's a great thing to talk about all the great things that the kids at YHS are doing.
Outstanding. Thank you, Lindsay. And you have a great day. Get back to those wild and crazy science nerds, huh?
I will do. Thank you. You as well. Have a good day.
Right. Thank you.
Yep. Bye-bye.
This is Scotty Borman for KYNT.
Big thank you to Scotty Borman for conducting that interview for YHS Nation, as he does every single week. And thanks to Lindsay Corton to talking about the Science Olympiad program for the Yankton School District. Very good Science Olympiad program. If you're not familiar with how impressive that program is, go out and check them out. But always great to talk more about that, about the Science Olympiad program and other programs of the like here on KYNT and KYNT-TV for Huddling with the Herd. Let's look at your week schedule now. Going on today, for your activities schedule at Sioux Falls Lincoln High School, the Silver Bowl Debate Invitational is happening today, and high school all-state band auditions at Augustana College are scheduled to begin just after 8 a.m. this morning, so those are ongoing. But looking at next week's slate of activities, athletic and non-athletic, gymnastics has a varsity duel, 5:30 p.m. on Monday night against Vermilion. That's at River City Gymnastics in Shear. Bucks and Gazelles basketball against Sioux Falls Jefferson on Tuesday. The Bucks at home, the Gazelles on the road. Both varsity games tip off at 7 p.m. Thursday, January 22nd, Bucks and Gazelles wrestling has a varsity triangular at Vermilion High School against Dakota Valley and Vermilion. It starts off at 5 p.m. with Yankton against Dakota Valley, and a rolling schedule will be implemented in that one. So it'd go Yankton against Dakota Valley at 5. As soon as that's done, Vermilion against Yankton, and they would end with Dakota Valley against Vermilion. And gymnastics has a varsity duel on the 22nd as well against Esteline Hendricks. It's in Hendricks, Minnesota at the barn for that duel. Lastly, Friday, January 23rd, Bucks and Gazelles basketball. Another split pair of games against Sioux Falls Roosevelt. The Bucks will be on the road this time. The Gazelles at home. Both games tipping off at 7 p.m. Pre-game coverage for both at 6:30. And looking ahead to next Saturday, talking about Science Olympiad. The middle school Science Olympiad team has a local tournament at the middle school lecture hall next Saturday, beginning at 7 a.m. That's just out at the middle school next Saturday, so good luck to the middle school Science Olympiad team next week. That's going to do it for Huddling with the Herd here on KYNT and KYNT-TV. Thank you to all the coaches who were able to come in today, Coach Muth, Coach Savvy, Coach Coyle. And of course, thanks to Coach Haynes for talking to us in the post-game last night after the Bucks matchup with Watertown. Another big week for Yankton Bucks and Gazelles athletics. It's going to keep rolling. Basketball is going to get super busy. Hockey is going to be back in about 2 weeks. Gymnastics and wrestling are getting down into the home stretch. Bowling is having a great season still. We have plenty to cover every single week on Huddling with the Herd. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll let you know, earlier this week, just yesterday, I believe, I received the schedule for baseball. We're talking baseball soon, too, on KYNT and KYNT-TV. That's coming up at the end of March, though, for Yankton High School baseball. I don't believe I've seen the softball schedule yet, but I can give a quick check online to see what softball is looking like when they start out. Just giving you a preview of spring all of a sudden here in the middle of January. Maybe because it's so cold outside, I want to start talking about spring. 31st of March is when softball would start. So we're going to be talking baseball and softball in a couple months, plus track and field and the like for your spring athletics on KYNT and KYNT-TV. For Huddling with the Herd. Tennis and golf will be out there as well. There's always plenty to talk about here on KYNT and KYNT-TV for Huddling with the Herd. But until next week, I have been Brayden Butler. Huddling with the Herd has been presented by Explorers Credit Union. Discover the difference at explorerscu.com. Didn't have any coaches over the phone on the Pizza Ranch phone line, but did have some pepperoni pizza from Pizza Ranch this morning, and it got rave reviews for everybody who's been in today. So big thank you to Pizza Ranch for sponsoring the show and providing pizzas this morning. Until next week here on KYNT and KYNT-TV, I've been Brayden Butler. Go out and support the Bucks and Gazelles and everything they do. And remember this weekend, stay safe, be good people, and have a great weekend, everybody. We'll talk at you later.